All right, last week's House hearing on the attempted assassination of President Trump went so poorly for the Secret Service that its director resigned the next day. Her replacement, who is a 25-year veteran of the service, did not fare much better today before the Senate. Take a look.
What more do you need to investigate to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot.
A lot of people didn't do their jobs.
I cannot put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the scale?
You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the Secret Service.
Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days, just like you have.
Somebody to hold them accountable.
I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly persecuted?
Unfairly,
we've got people who are
dead. We
dead.
have to be able to have a proper investigation into this, Senator.
And while the acting director faced plenty of very tough questions about the assassination attempt, nobody at the hearing ever tried to claim it never happened, unlike Meta's AI chatbot, which until today was allegedly telling users that the incident wasn't real or never happened. Meta now says that it programmed the AI to not answer questions about the attempted assassination at all, rather than risk inaccurate information being provided. They say they're working on fixing the issue. Over at Google, they're also working on fixing issues with search results after Elon Musk helped expose the fact that Trump's name basically will not show up in searches at all. Even, by the way, Harry Truman is faring better online. So surprise, surprise, surprise. Well, turns out big tech is still in the tank for the Democrats. Here with reaction to all of this is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, do you feel you got the answers that you needed? And when Marsha Blackburn, brought up the fact that apparently there was an email that said the next assassination in 30 days, reportedly sent by a Secret Service counter sniper, can you explain that to me?
No, and we didn't get any answers today, Sean. The more questions we ask, the more excuses we get. And what basically the Secret Service said today was that, yeah, a whole bunch of people made a whole lot of mistakes and they're not going to fire anybody. I mean, you just played the exchange. The Secret Service director is saying, oh, we need a long process. We need to go through this bureaucratic rigmarole. No, we don't. I mean, listen, there was no Secret Service on that roof. There should have been. There was no Secret Service securing the building where the shooter was. There should have been. There was no Secret Service pulling President Trump off a stage. There should have been. And now an American is dead because of it, and Trump got shot in the face. I mean, what more do you need to know? These guys, they need to get with reality.
Can you explain why Donald Trump, and this came up today, was allowed on the stage 17 minutes after reports of a suspicious person? Could we ever get an answer? Could we ever get an answer on why they claim this was a sloped roof when I fell off a roof nearly 3 stories and when I was doing roofing, and that's not a sloped roof, and yet they didn't put people around the perimeter. They didn't put sniper eyes on it, because that would seem very basic to me, very fundamental to me.
Well, and what whistleblowers tell me, Sean, is that actually there was law enforcement assigned to be on that roof. I asked the Secret Service director about that today, and he said, well, gee, I'm not sure. And I said, how can you not be sure? 17 days have gone by. But here's the reason why, Sean. Secret Service hasn't even talked to local law enforcement. They've done 0 local law enforcement debrief or interviews since the shooting. 0. I mean, it just begs the question, what is going on? Are they really trying to get the facts, or they're just trying to cover their rear ends? And it sure looks a whole lot to me like the second thing. The American people deserve the truth here, not whitewashing, not stonewalling, not a bunch of bureaucratic gobbledygook. They deserve the truth, and I am not going to stop pushing until we actually get it.
Senator, part of your job and Congress's job is something called oversight. And my understanding is, and you told me that you actually went to the site in Butler yourself and that you were kicked off the property. Who kicked you off the property and why?
The FBI, exactly. I went there myself, Sean, because it is my job to do oversight. And to be honest with you, I don't trust any of these people to give us the facts. And we saw it today. All we get is this stonewalling garbage. So I went there myself, and the FBI, Sean, came on to the property and said, we're doing an investigation. You need to get out of here. To which I said, I don't care what you're doing. I've got my own oversight to do.
We know back in 2020 that the FBI was meeting with big tech for months every week before the election. They had verified the authenticity of the very real Hunter Biden laptop in March of 2020. And yet they were telling these big tech companies that they may be victims of a misinformation campaign about Joe and Hunter Biden. And when the laptop story broke, which they knew would break because Rudy Giuliani's attorney had it, they wouldn't confirm that it was real, even though they had authenticated it. If you Google the issue of assassination, Donald Trump's name doesn't come up. Ronald Reagan's name comes up. Gerald Ford's name comes up. Meta labeled the assassination as fictional. We know that Meta can't answer questions about Trump, but they had plenty of answers about Kamala Harris. And Facebook falsely labeled the real picture of Donald Trump with his fist in the air and a bloody face and ear as fake. So it'll be once again in the middle of an election cycle where big tech is putting cinder blocks on the scales of an election, and that the FBI is doing the same? Is that where we're back at? Back to the dirty Russian dossier used as FISA application information?
Yeah, it looks to me like big tech is back to its old tricks, Sean, even as they got their hand out, by the way, and are getting subsidies from the federal government worth billions of dollars. They're trying to sweep this under the rug. And the Secret Service continues to stonewall. The FBI, too, Sean. They ought to be out there giving us the facts. We have learned more from whistleblowers coming forward than we have from any of these guys. It is time for them to level with the American people, and it's time for people to resign and be fired for what happened to Trump and the other folks who got shot.
Please bring these whistleblowers forward. Bring them on this show. Bring them before Congress. And we need to hear from them sooner than later. Senator, thank you.